Hi, my name is K. Jaishankar and I am presently the Professor and Head, Department of Criminology, Raksha Shakti University, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Today, we will discuss about the module Identity Related Cybercrimes. The prerequisites of this module are Internet, Identity, Cybercrimes, Phishing, Identity Theft and Identity Fraud. The main objectives of the module are to understand the definition of identity related crime, to examine the difference of identity related crime and identity related cybercrime, to explore the typology of identity related cybercrimes, to understand the reasons for the growth of identity related cybercrimes. Some of keywords are there: phishing, malware, identity fraud, identity theft. After the completion of this module, you will be able to understand the definition of identity related cybercrime, understand the differences between identity related crime and identity related cybercrime. You will be able to identify the typology of identity related cybercrime. You will be able to examine the reasons for the growth of identity related cybercrime. Identity is a holistic term to portray an individual's comprehension of him or herself as a discrete, separate entity. Finch provides a brief typology of identity. Identity is a complex and multifaceted concept, and it can be divided into three categories: personal, social and legal. Personal identity relates to the self as experienced by the individual. Social identity is the identity that is perceived by others. It is the external view of the self as viewed by others in society. Legal identity is the way in which an accumulation of information distinguishes one individual from all others. The importance of identity gains greater significance in this wired era. The use of identity in the cyberspace is greater nowadays. People tend to shop, bank, sell and have relationship in internet. In these processes, their identity plays a superior role, which however is being misused by the miscreants. The perpetrators try to misuse the identity of the person for personal gain. This criminal misuse of identity is called as identity related crime. It's a comprehensive term used to include both identity theft and identity fraud. This also includes identity theft and identity fraud committed online. This module deals with the definition of identity related crime, the differences between identity related crime and identity related cybercrime, the typology of identity related cybercrime, and it will conclude with some reasons for the growth of identity related cyber crimes. Let's see the definition of the identity related crime. Identity related scams that are generally solicited through digital communication mediums including emails, social networking, sites, mobile phones, SMS, etc. Identity related crimes thus operated through internet are known by two almost synonymous names, namely identity theft and identity fraud. The methodology of the modus operandi could be either phishing or spoofing or forming or even plain and simple hacking. Depending upon the modus operandi, identity theft or identity fraud is defined by various legal systems in various ways. This criminal misuse of identity, including identity theft and fraud, is now collectively called as identity related crime by the United Nations and various researchers. According to Coops and Leans, identity related crime can be defined as all punishable activities that have identity as a target or a principal tool. They elaborate this definition further as identity related crime, certainly in the category of identity fraud, is often described as a two-stage process. The first stage involves lawfully or unlawfully gathering, identifying data of a specific individual or unspecified individuals in a group of potential victims or creating new identifying data. The second stage involves using these data in some unlawful way. While useful, this two-stage process does not provide insight in the mechanics of identity related crimes, how they are committed. As could be seen from this definition, the term identity related crime is and can be understood in the light of a range of other information related terms, namely identity fraud, identity theft, phishing, account compromising, account hacking, account hijacking, etc. It is noteworthy to mention here that the term identity related crimes is used as an umbrella term to cover certain typologies which are addressed by the various UN reports and documents. These typologies include fraud, economic fraud, identity theft, identity fraud, and identity crime. The United Nations Handbook on Identity Related Crime also emphasized upon the ideology of Coops and Leans 2006 about the holistic concept of identity related crime. Further, the term identity related crimes has been very well addressed by the United Nations Handbook. Identity related crimes refer to all forms of wrongdoing conducted under the guise of another person's identity, as well as to preparatory acts involving the collection, manipulation, and trading of identity information. It includes acts that may not be legally recognized as crimes. Most of these acts can be considered either identity theft or identity fraud, the former referring to the misappropriation of genuine identity or information or documents, and the later referring to the use of identity information to deceive others. Let us see the difference between identity related crimes and identity related cyber crimes. Identity related crimes are not new type of crimes. They are mostly financial crimes that occurred post invention of ATM transaction in banks or credit card frauds. Typically, conventional ID theft was and still is committed through techniques such as dumpster diving, also known as bin raiding, payment cards, theft, pretexting shoulder surfing, skimming, or computer theft. However, with the growth of internet, online banking, and e-commerce, there is transition of conventional identity related crimes to online identity related crimes. Though conventional identity related crimes do occur, identity related cybercrimes are in rise, and mostly phishing, which is predominantly done by malware and spam, is the technique used in case of identity related cybercrime. Jaishankar 2008 analyzes the components that make identity related cybercrimes different from conventional identity related crimes. The identity related cybercrime is perpetrated with ease when compared to the identity related crime in the physical space. It should be noted that the impact of identity related cybercrime is larger than conventional identity related crimes. The transnational nature, velocity, and its relationship with other criminal activities such as fraud, organized crime, money laundering, and terrorism makes this crime more unique. Except for the differences in the medium of application and victimization impact, identity related crimes and identity related cybercrimes are no different. Now let us see the typology of identity related cybercrimes. Victimization in cases of identity related crimes can be broadly categorized into 4 types. A. Financial cheating, mainly by phishing. Financial victimization include cheating the victim with false promises to gain lump sum of money through easy access, such as declaration for the winning of the lottery on the basis of fictitious random selection process of email IDs, conveying false messages about secret money gains, and asking the mail recipient to assist in changing the currency or bringing the fund to the country of the recipient, and thereby paying him her good amount of commissions, etc. Mostly phishing is used as the technique. Phishing is a term that was coined in 1996 by US hackers who were stealing American online accounts by scamming passwords from AOL users. The use of PH in the terminology traces back in the 70s to early hackers who were involved in phreaking, a hacking of telephone systems. Phishing is today generally described as a luring method that thieves use to phish for unsuspecting internet users, personal identifying information through emails, and mirror websites which look like those coming from legitimate businesses, including financial institutions or governmental agencies. In such cases of victimization, once the victim answers the mails, he or she is asked to meet the mentioned agent, his or her phone number is conveyed, and the victim is told to get in contact with the agent directly. The agent promises to pay the money, but at the same time asks the victim to deposit funds for customs clearance or bank processing fees. which can be a huge amount. The victim is asked to pay such amount either totally or in parts to a certain bank account, which may also be created only for such false gains with false information. Once the victim starts paying, he or she is asked to pay more, failing of which the agent informs that the contract has expired and the victim won't be eligible for any sum. In some cases, the victim may be told that the time period for depositing the money has lapsed, even though the victim would have paid the whole amount. Hence, the contract stands cancelled without paying anything to the victim. The same pattern may be followed for lottery scam as well. The other type of financial cheating could be employment scam, where the victim is lured to pay amount for the promise of overseas employment, or he is handed over a fictitious employment mail or letter after paying the initial amount and asked to do a certain type of job, after which he is denied any money and employment contract is cancelled. Even though the other types of identity related victimization may be done with the main motive to cause monetary loss to the victims, we would profile them as individual type of victimization independent of financial victimization. The next one is unauthorized access of data victimization through hacking and unauthorizedly accessing documents belonging to others and making illegal use of such documents. Impersonating others through or with the hacked documents, etc. can describe the profile of such types of victimization. While the second type of such victimization can be seen rampantly through social networking sites, email services, etc. to cheat victims for monetary gain and victimizing women. A good example of the first type of victimization can be seen in the British phone hacking scandal concerning the now closed newspaper News of the World and the chairman of the said paper, Rupert Murdoch. The news reports and the court judgment suggest that the newspaper authorities hacked into the phones of various people, including the 7/7 terror victims in the UK, to have more coverage stories. The victimization included hacking of the phones and accessing to huge amount of private information conveyed by the victims. The third one, grooming of adult women and creation of fake identities. This type of victimization includes creation of fictitious IDs or using original IDs to groom adults, especially women, by creating profiles for porno websites and illegally gaining money. Davidson and Webster had found that such types of identity-related crimes are growing in numbers, especially to victimize children and young adults, where the perpetrators pose as good Samaritans to win the trust of the victims and then slowly direct the victims to come over to private chat rooms, which may or may not be accompanied with webcam facilities. In case of adult grooming, the best example could be found in cases of matrimonial site frauds, where the perpetrator contacts the victim as one of the prospective bridegrooms, continue a virtual courting relationship for months, and grooms the victim to fully trust him. The groomer may disappear from his virtual avatar once his aim is fulfilled in ways of getting cash or after dating with the bride-to-be. The other type of victimization is the creation of fake identities for various malicious purposes. This method of victimization may include creation of fake identities for cyber terrorism, flesh trade, illegal monetary gain, etc. The perpetrator may create multiple identities to contribute to online commercial transaction websites like the Craigslist, which may actually pull in women victims in new avatars for flesh trade. Such creation of identities can be done either by hacking into others' accounts or by creating identities on fictitious information. D. Identity-related cybercrimes beyond financial crimes. From the above discussion, it could be seen that the term identity-related cybercrime has been widely used to mean identity theft, identity fraud, and finally financial victimization. As per the Handbook on Identity-Related Crimes of the United Nations, the following legal terms are used in relation to the identity-related crimes: means of identification, identity document or identification document misuse of electronic signature, identity theft, computer-related identity theft, use, possession, aggravating circumstances, intent to commit another offense. Almost all these terms have been understood by the modern researchers in the light of financial frauds. However, a broader look at the above explanations given by the legal provisions may reveal that these terms and these laws may also be stretched to understand identity-related cybercrimes in issues such as domestic and international terrorism, flesh trade, online child grooming, and pedophilia. First, let us see domestic and international terrorism. It has been established by the researchers that one of the modes of terrorism via the cyberspace is attacking and unauthorizedly accessing the critical information structure, defacing essential government websites, and disrupting internet communication for government as well as civil amenities. Considering some of the core characteristics of cyber terrorism, it could be seen that extremists may fulfill the terrorist purposes through the cyberspace by taking over the identity of the service provider and subsequently blocking the delivery of services or routing the delivery through their own tracks for their own purposes. The individuals and also the corporations in certain cases become secondary victims as they are deceived by the extremist organizations by using the good name of the state. The second is flesh trade. Flesh trade through the internet has become a booming commercial activity. Craigslist has been attracting the attention of the researchers for some time as this website became a famous web hub to sell women and also children for sex. Apart from sites such as these, which were originally designed for sites for classified for jobs, apartments, personal, etc., researchers have claimed that regular job advertisement sites or study abroad sites are also used to deceive individuals, especially women, and land the victims in brothels. The typical primary victims are individuals, especially women, both mature teens and adults, and also mature teens in some cases, who get allured by advertisements of secure job within the domestic territory or abroad and study opportunities abroad. The perpetrators may deceive their victims either with fake identities of agents or by using the names of medium to small corporate entities. It needs to be noted that apart from luring the victims by camouflaging identities, the victims are also marketed through websites such as Craigslist and even prominent social networking sites like Facebook as women who solicit sex. This involves creating false identities of women with racy comments about the victim, which may or may not be accompanied by their personal details including home address, telephone numbers, and emails, etc. Notably, such websites and corporate entities fall as secondary victims of such identity-related crimes in flesh trade as their goodwill is mainly misused by the perpetrators. It further needs to be mentioned that the flesh trade via internet is different from online dating scams, which also involves creation of false identities generally by the perpetrator. Dating scam may turn into flesh trade when the victim is lured outside the internet and raped by the perpetrator or handed over to other customers by the perpetrator. 3. Online child grooming and pedophilia. Identity-related crimes are majorly reported in cases of online child grooming and pedophilia. Unlike economic crimes like phishing, employment scams, gaming or flesh trade, or even terrorist misuse of the identity, such crimes are not typically aimed for monetary gain. Rather, the perpetrators behind the screen aim for their own sexual satisfaction. However, monetary gain gets involved when these activities are done for the satisfaction of other customers. The primary victims in these cases are children, including young and mature teens. The perpetrators camouflage under dubious identities to groom and trap the young victims for pedophilic purposes. Like flesh trade, online groomers also take refuge in various normal websites that are accessed by adults. While the perpetrators use different identities, in some cases, children who may have turned into victims and got addicted to such sex puppy talks may also avail camouflaged identities to build in regular relationship with the pedophile. This is done to avail privacy and avoid immediate surveillance by the parents as well as the police. The websites which is used as platform for such online grooming and pedophile activities fall as secondary victims. That reason is that neither domestic laws of these sites nor the international treaties allow online child victimization through any web platforms, and their reputation are at stake because of the use of their sites by some perpetrators involving in such illegal activities. Let me conclude with a summary. Identity-related crimes have taken new dimensions since the European Union Convention on Cybercrime in 2001 which for the first time narrowly touched the concept of identity-related crimes in the cyberspace. The profile of the victim in identity-related crimes is no longer restricted to e-commerce related victimization. The more the internet has widened the space for socializing, knowledge sharing, as well as e-commerce, more the perpetrators have begun to take advantage of privacy loopholes. Along with this, a growing notion of extreme freedom of speech allowed in the cyberspace aids in identity-related cybercrimes. The main reasons for the growth of identity-related crimes in the cyberspace are three-pronged. One, loopholes in the legal framework, inadequate cybercrime policing. Two, three, lack of awareness. Identity-related cybercrimes are growing because websites which run on information contributed by general individuals traditionally do not monitor the contents contributed unless they are alerted by the victims themselves or the whistleblowers. Further, many websites refuse to take down the offensive contents, including the victimizing profile. Several sites seek legal proof of identity of the victim to claim the damage. This becomes a huge task for ordinary individuals, especially when they are unaware of the legal and technical terminologies. The police, on the other hand, may prove useless if the victim belongs to a remote area and the officers concerned are found to be unaware of identity-related crimes in the cyberspace. Hence, it can be seen that the responsibility falls both on the web companies such as Google, which provide search engines, as well as the other commercial and non-commercial websites to take preventive steps against identity-related cybercrimes. Mere written policy statements encourage the perpetrators to commit identity-related cybercrimes when they understand that web service providers would actually benefit out of them and not the victims. The responsibility also lies on the government stakeholders who can monitor the offensive web contents, balancing the right to privacy of the contributors and general individuals and freedom of speech. Also, it has become essential to continuously update the awareness level of the general individual as well as the police. It is suggested that the police and the civil society organizations must conduct workshops together to create awareness about possible misuse of the identities. It needs to be understood that every nation differs with the socio-legal culture, but the new wave of web culture has virtually unified the world. Hence, development of international cooperation, treaties, policies, guidelines, and domestic laws to curb the issue may provide beneficial to prevent the identity-related issues if victim profiling is intensely researched. Thank you.